Alright boys, welcome to the channel. I'm Alex and today we're gonna dissect the movie Braveheart, most especially why Braveheart could never be made today. So let me ask you this. If Braveheart was pitched to a Hollywood studio today, same script, same violence, same ending, do you really think it would get done? I mean, no rewrites, no softening, no apologies. Because the truth is, Braveheart, it wasn't just an epic movie. It was a movie from a completely different era. An era Hollywood has left behind. So I'm gonna break down exactly why Braveheart could never be made today and why precisely it still hits so hard. We're gonna start off with the reason that is obvious all throughout the movie. It's too raw and brutal, alright? Braveheart is violent, there's no going around it, yeah, it's real violence. It's not superhero violence, not stylized slow motion CGI violence. Plus, we haven't had a good CGI movie since Avengers Endgame. But I'm talking mud, blood, screaming, limbs flying, and horses crashing into men. There's no clean choreography in this movie. I'm gonna show you some behind the scenes clips where you can see exactly how it was made. You don't have any hero poses, yeah? The battles in Braveheart feel ugly, chaotic, and terrifying. Because war is ugly, and Mel Gibson adapted the war in Braveheart closest as he felt to reality as possible. Today's big budget movies sanitize violence, they make it exciting, they got songs, intros, you name it. There's no real in it, you know. This movie doesn't ask if you're comfortably watching it. It just throws you into the dirt and says this is war, this is what it costs. Modern studios would panic at this level of brutality. Too intense, too disturbing, and too risky. Now we're going to talk about something that actually infuriates me, and we're going to talk about unfiltered masculinity, the cult of war, the patriotism, the men of honor. Alright, that's another reason Hollywood wouldn't touch the movie today, because Braveheart is unapologetically masculine. And no cartoon macho nonsense. If the movie would have been made today, they'd probably make William Wallace loving men and women and making him feel very unsure of himself and not be so much focused on what's happening in Scotland, but mostly on his feelings. But in this movie we've got men crying, men bleeding, men breaking under pressure, men dying for something bigger than themselves, yeah? William Wallace doesn't go and jokes around, he doesn't wink at the audiences, he doesn't undercut his own seriousness. He believes fully, completely in what he's fighting for. You don't get that in any movie anymore. There hasn't been in Hollywood in a long time a proper leading man actor that you really want to see him for his toughness. Like we had Gibson for a while, like Bruce Willis, we had Stallone, we had Schwarzenegger. Van Damme was a bit dodgy with his moves and ass show in every movie, but he was still, you know, like a proper man in most parts of the movie. Heroes right now, like modern heroes, the leading men, they're ironic, self-aware, always joking, plus hinting you've got some, I don't even know how to call them, where they have a contract that they cannot lose a fight in a movie. Now how can you make Braveheart today when the main character dies at the end of the movie? You know, Dwayne, William Wallace isn't trying to be liked, he's trying to be free. And that kind of sincerity, it scares modern Hollywood, and the wokeism would not allow a movie like that where you have a proper man that just goes for it and only follows what he believes in. You don't get that anymore. Now we're moving on to another problem, and you know, I'm gonna just say it, you're right, the nationalism and identity of the movies, because this is a big one. Braveheart is about identity. You've got land, culture, language, and the feeling of belonging. It's about people refusing to be ruled by an empire. Today, you know, that message would go all over the place, because people would hate a movie that celebrates borders, national identity, rebellion against centralized power. They would find any reason. I'm talking about the wokies. You know, they would pick the movie apart instantly, and they would call the movie dangerous, divisive, and too political. It would not allow people to realize that they can actually change something if they really, really believe it and act accordingly. They don't want that message out there, you know? And on the plus side, why this movie should not be made today, I'm pretty sure they would mess up with the CGI like very, very bad. Like I said, I'm gonna have some clips from behind the scenes and you can see how the movie was made. That was proper, raw, hard work and people going day and night. Mel Gibson paid money from his own pocket. They went above the budget to make the movie as realistic as possible. The movie had thousands of real extra. They had real horses, real weapons, and real location. Alright, there was no green screen, no motion capture image, no stupid slow motion with cinematic zooming, and you know, Braveheart was raw and brutal from the start. And when you see chaos on the screen, it's because chaos was happening. But today you would have a CGI crowd, actor isolated on sets, everything polished in post-production. It wouldn't look as honest and as sincere as Braveheart looked more than 20 years ago. Braveheart looks dirty because it was dirty, alright? The actors were freezing, extras were exhausted, nobody was safe or comfortable. The movie didn't have that many injuries on behind the scenes. I think Mel Gibson says one guy broke one finger and some other guys had some bruises. There was nothing like really serious, but they focused a lot on the extras being safe, even filming such dangerous scenes. Modern productions would avoid that like the plague, alright? They would call it maybe too expensive, too dangerous, and too unpredictable to do that. They would be afraid of lawsuits and stuff like that. But that rawness is exactly where Braveheart still feels real, even today. Like I said in the start, the ending would never survive. I mean, let's be honest, when was the last time you've seen a movie where the main character actually dies at the end, and especially for something he believes in, alright? The studio would not allow that ending. Test audiences would complain, executives would panic, they demand like something, you know, a last minute rescue, a hopeful escape, a sequel setup. If this one hits, they would make sure they would have sequel in the third part, and then they would invent a prequel. The way they ruined like Star Wars, they oh my god, I don't even want to talk about that movie. That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. All the three parts, the new ones, I want to forget them. That's it. But Braveheart ends with death. Public, brutal, uncomfortable, and yet it's powerful. Wallace loses his life, but his death ignites a nation. And modern Hollywood hates ending like this. They want hope without sacrifice, victory without loss, and Braveheart refuses to do that. And now, this is again very stupid. There was no fear of backlash back then, especially with Mel Gibson, who was a real man's man, okay? He didn't fear. He wasn't afraid of taking chances. He wasn't afraid. But even back then, you had no social media outrage cycle, no apology tours, no instant backlash storm. The filmmakers made the movie they believed in and released it. They didn't explain it, they didn't soften it, they didn't defend it. Today, every frame would be dissected, every line would be debated, and every creative choice would be politically analyzed. Studios in these days fear controversy more than mediocrity. Braveheart thrives on controversy. At the end of all this stupid reason, there's an irony to it, yeah? The very reason Braveheart couldn't be made today are the reasons why it still matters. It's sincere, it's messy, it's emotionally dangerous. It doesn't tell you what to think, it shows you what it costs to stand for something. And that's very rare in our movies. You don't get any more motivational movies, or you don't leave the cinema. If you still go to cinema, hey man, good job, but you don't leave. You want to leave before the movie finishes now. You don't leave out the cinema like motivated and feeling like you've seen. I haven't had that feeling since I've seen, I think, Interstellar was the last movie where I walked out of the theater and I was like, god damn it, that was a movie. So no, Braveheart could never be made today. And maybe that's the tragedy of it. Because movies like this remind us that cinema used to be bold, unafraid to offend, unafraid to bleed, unafraid to believe, and sometimes all a story needs to say is one word. Alright boys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.